Hello, everyone. Hey, you made it, Nuck and Futz. Nuck and Futz. It's such a funny name. There's another name that somebody had that I saw a few months ago that was really similar to that, but I can't remember what it was. But it was funny too. Um, yeah, thanks for being here. Guess I better take the stream starting soon off here. Since we started. Wait for some more people to come in and then we'll get started. I can't tell it's really small. I don't like how you used to be able to click on someone's name in the chat. Hey Foxglove. Good to see you. Yo yo yo. You used to be able to click on, the person's name on YouTube and it would take you straight to their channel, and I don't know why they got rid of that. It's kind of weird, but so anyways, it's hard to see your thumbnail, but is that a picture of your pup? Or your dog, I should say. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, it's not a puppy. He's full grown." I'm like, "I know. Okay, fine." I just that's what I say. I say pup. Did you get a notification? Yeah, Nuckenfut. Nuckenfuts, yeah, you. Sorry. Should have specified. You were the only one in here until Foxglove came in the chat on D Live, so that's why I didn't specify. Sorry about that. Um, so Fox, I was just telling someone asked me about uh, my profile pic for my channel, and they asked if I drew it, and I said no. I said a friend of mine drew it for me. I sent some pictures, and she sent it to me. I said she's really really talented. I was like, she's a super great artist. And then of course every time I tell someone about you, I can't remember, is it voiceovers or is it, I always say voiceovers, but I know that's not right. And then I was like, is it voice characterization? And I was like, no, that's not it. It was like, oh, I was actually during my live stream last night or the night before on D Live, and I'm like, voice characterization, voice analysis. I don't know. I couldn't remember. And I was like, I should know this, but I'll ask her again. So I wanted to ask you while I was thinking about it, because I'm always, saying how talented you are. Hey, Angela. Oh, okay. I see it now. The meerkat. Your dog is way uglier. Oh, that's sad. English bulldogs are so cute. You're on D Live, but it keeps stopping. Not sure why. He's so ugly, he's cute. That's a cute picture of the meerkat, though. Now that I can actually see it, I couldn't tell if it was like a chihuahua or something with his ears back or something. I couldn't see the ears, but I gotcha. I forgot to put the chat up since I'm not. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Oh no, it should be big actually. Yeah, we're good. Just while we're waiting a couple more minutes, I know people are like, "Oh, how long does it take for you to get to to start your stream?" But unfortunately, I don't have like a bunch of people waiting in my live streams. I mean, it doesn't help that I don't schedule them, that I just kind of pop on, but either way, I don't have a ton of people waiting in my stream, so I like to, give people a chance to get here. Or if they don't get a notification, hopefully they'll be on YouTube and they'll see that I'm live, because that seems to be the case lately. Hey Purple, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Oh, is that you? That's you, Nuckadfuts? You're Hakuna Matata? Okay, gotcha. Cool. You never changed your pick? Well, either way, he's a cute meerkat. Now it's working. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me why. They have a lot of. DLive has quite a bit of glitches on there still. Hopefully they'll work them out soon, but it does seem like it glitches a lot. And if it's not on DLive's end, it's on my end. I don't know about other streamers, but the issues are either way. I would be curious to know if when I'm live, if it's even popping up for people that are subscribed or not subscribed. Yeah, I'll see live streams or people that are live for the ones I'm not subscribed to. So hey Ribby Robo. Off subject, is it an accurate depiction? Is what an accurate depiction? I must have missed that. Are you talking about my picture? My profile picture? Hey Monica. You're ironing? I don't think I've probably ironed twice my entire life. I think it is, Ruby Robo. I was wondering if you were still here, Fox. Glad you're back. Yes, I do. I think it's an accurate depiction. Personally, yes, I do. But yeah, so I have probably ironed twice my entire life, and my way of ironing is, I mean, obviously if it's something that you can't dry, but I don't usually buy shirts like that or anything. So, but my way of ironing is spraying some either Febreze on it or some just, with a water bottle and misting him the pants or the shirt, and I throw them in the dryer for like 5 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, wrinkle free. Okay, so yesterday or last night we went over. I played the body cam footage that we've all seen like a million times. When Coonrod showed up at the house for the welfare check. And we went over those discrepancies, and you've been ironing on and off since Larry's live. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of ironing. So we're going to play, or I'm going to play the video that we've all seen also a million times of the body cam of Coonrod at Nate's house when they're all standing in front of Nate's television when the infamous American Horror Story teaser comes on. Yada yada. It's only 15 minutes long, but considering the way I am, it'll probably be okay. 15 minutes will probably turn into an hour, just knowing me, so. But we'll see. Okay, so I actually downloaded it this time, so hopefully there won't be any buffering. I don't know why there would be. But then again, my computer's super slow. So fingers crossed. Okay, here we go. Oh, and then before I start, yesterday I mentioned that, or about the fact that the problem that I have, anyways, personally with this body cam footage, or one of the things I have wrong with, or that I find wrong with it, is if Coonrod is not in the room with everybody that was there at the time that all this is happening, and they walk off camera, if they walk off camera, away from his body cam, we don't know what's going on the sidelines, right? So that can be, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I was gonna say frustrating, but that's not frustrating. We just don't know what's going on, and there seems to be a lot of that happening. Something else I thought of when I was downloading this when did Coonrod turn his body camera footage or camera off? I'm trying to remember when exactly from last night that that first video ended, like where, shoot, I'm trying to remember where exactly it ended at. Because I would just be curious to know why Coonrod, or if maybe he didn't, and maybe they cut out from, or maybe they didn't cut anything out. I don't know. I'm trying, maybe you guys can help me out in the chat, but it seems like I don't remember him. Maybe I should look that up. Well, wait, maybe I should look that up. No, I mean, I guess that's not really relevant, but if he did turn his camera off for a certain amount of time, I just find that odd that they didn't, that one, he turned it off if he did, and two, how much time was taken from the first video to this one, you know what I mean? And I guess I could look at the timestamp, but I'll do that later since I already have this pulled up. But then, so also with, as far as the, you know, people going off camera when they're not around Coonrod, you have Coonrod and Chris and Nate in the house, right? And then, not saying that they were doing anything, you know, nefarious or whatever, but what are Nicole Atkinson and Nicholas Atkinson doing for that time that Coonrod and Chris and Nate are in the house? Because you see Nicholas Atkinson in there, and then Nicole Atkinson doesn't come until later. And then Chris leaves, and then Chris leaves after that, right? After they're done watching the TV. And what does he do for that whole time? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, it's strange to me that the whole thing is strange. Is it just you? Or, I mean, is it just you, Fox? Is anyone else having audio issues on DLive? Or on YouTube? Either one. Because my mic is a new mic, so it shouldn't be having issues. Just want to pull the chat up here. Hey, Ara. Good to see you. Okay, sorry, already. Yeah, it's definitely going to be at least an hour for a 15-minute video. So this is what I mentioned. This is the same part that I mentioned yesterday on yesterday's stream, is where's all the footage, and we're going to look at that to verify that, to make sure that I am right. Because I could be mistaken. So we'll see. But where's all the footage of, or where's this footage of Coonrod walking into the house on Nate's TV, right? Where's all the motion clips? Where's the motion clips of Nicholas Atkinson and Nicole Atkinson pulling up into the driveway, and Nicholas standing on Nicole Atkinson's car looking through the garage windows? Where's the motion clips on Nate's TV of Coonrod walking around the house and knocking on the windows? Where's the motion clips of them standing in the driveway talking when Chris shows up? Where's the video clip when Chris shows up and, you know, and walks into the house? Because we know that Nate's camera will get triggered from that distance. So where is all that footage? So let's see if we can find it on Nate's TV here in a few minutes. Hey, Hippie. Thanks for the lemons. All right. There's nothing futs about it. Hopefully the sound, I don't know. I don't know. The sound is crappy anyway, so.
Coolers, my water jugs, my book bag, my computers, some of the tools that I had from the toolbox. I knew I was going to have to do some pumping unit rubbers today. So I was out.
Yeah, I just wanted to pause it because I saw Ara's comment. Yeah, and that could be very well maybe the case as far as it not being relevant. But, you know, who are they to say that just because they're law enforcement, like if they're trying to be transparent, and that's why I'm trying to find out, I want to know. So if somebody in the chat knows if law enforcement or Rourke or the mainstream media, I want to know if you guys have heard the reason why they released the amount of body cam footage and information that they did in this case, or if they didn't give a reason at all and they just did it. Because there's got to be some sort of reason why they did that for this case and no other case. Because like I've said before, you literally have to like go through freaking, I don't know what that saying is, mountains, tunnels, over the hills, whatever, to freaking just get any sort of case files from filing FOIA or CORA requests. Like, it's a pain in the ass. They make it so difficult for you or anybody to just get any case files. And if they just give you the runaround pretty much, or they'll say it's not deemed the public's interest, or that's one of their favorite ones to use, right, for not releasing the information. And they call themselves an open record state, but again, it's like pulling teeth to get any of that information. So why with this case, why with the Watts case, were they just willing to just hand it over? And somebody corrected me one day and said, oh, it's not that they just willingly did it. It's because the mainstream media made a fuss about it. And so they were forced to release information. But I've never seen that in like writing or been able to vet that. So I would like to know if they did give a reason. But I haven't been able to find or verify a reason for it. But I think that's one of the things that we need to figure out in this case. One of the more important things is, if not one of the important, is why this case? Why so much information released? Why was there so much information released? And, you know, and again, without having to pull teeth to get it. Go through hoops. Thank you, Samantha. I'm all over the hills and around the mountain and through the trees. I'm like, what is this, that song? And as far as like relevance goes, like I mentioned yesterday or last night, they gave us so many things that weren't relevant still. You know what I mean? Like the body cam footage of taking Ronnie to the hotel, or the body cam footage of the Thayers picking up Dieter from the hotel, from the house. Like, that's not relevant. It doesn't, I mean, does it have to do with the case? Yeah, but it doesn't, again, it's not any relevance to the actual investigation itself. My audio is not working again? Shoot. Yeah, exactly. Over the river and through the woods. Yeah. I'm trying here.
Is this on continually
Yep.
recording?
Yep. Well,
It's not. Is it motion or is it?
Event.
Okay, so it's motion.
Any
motion event that happens.
I don't know why the volume is so low, though.
From this street, and this is him at 517.
Okay, never mind. I just checked on my phone, and I guess it's not that low. For some reason, it's
Easier to lug and everything out.
low through my monitor. But where is my? Oh, that's right. So if Nate's camera can pick up Chris pulling into the driveway, then again, why did it not pick up Nicole Atkinson pulling into the driveway so that Nicholas Atkinson could see through the garage windows to see if the car was in there, or the car seats? And relevance or not, like, if it's about being transparent, right? Why only give us some of it, but not all of it? No, all right. No, I'm not saying that they're not real people. I mean, they're obviously, you know what I mean. They're real human people. Like, I'm not saying that they're like holograms, or there's green screens or anything like that, or they're not actual breathing human beings. I'm just saying that it's orchestrated. They very well could be real families, and that's what makes this even more believable. But it would not be difficult to find two families that would be willing to be a part of something like this. I think that's where you know, a lot of people might think that's impossible, or that not everybody, so many people could be involved without, or one, being involved, or two, without someone speaking up. And that's simply not the case whatsoever either. It's not everyone has to be in the know. Not everyone has to know what's going on. And I talk about this in one of my other live streams. It's like you have different roles, I guess, that certain people will play in making this all happen. So you're going to have the ones that are going to be the knowing and willing, which would be Chris, which would be your Rourke, which would be, your main characters. Or you'll have the unknowing, unwilling. And those are going to be the ones where they don't know what's going on, but they're like either somehow like tricked into doing it, right? Or whatever. You're going to have the ones who know about it, but are just going to go along with it, maybe simply because they don't want to lose their job, or they don't want to speak out because maybe their coworkers are going to say, "Oh, you're crazy," and call you a wacko and a conspiracy theorist. Maybe they were threatened. Maybe they were offered a huge pay raise. We just don't know. Like, so there's so many factors that can go into that as far as why someone wouldn't speak up about it. And again, not everyone has to be in the know. So for instance, take, the officer that was passing out the Be on the Lookout flyers in the neighborhood, right? He doesn't have to know that it's orchestrated. He doesn't have to know that it's not real. He doesn't have to know that. All he is doing is what his supervisor told him. So if he says, hey, I need Officer so-and-so, I need you to go in the neighborhood, I need you to pass out these BOLO flyers for this pregnant woman and her missing children. So what does he do? What he does every day. Answers to his, superior or supervisor, whatever, his boss, and does his job. So not everyone, again, has to be involved or be in the know. The less that are in the know, the better. And don't forget that a lot of these events that are orchestrated, they are planned like years in advance. And I think a lot of people don't get that either, or know that, or understand that. But it's not like they just threw this all together in like a couple months. Like there's extensive planning that goes into these events. And all of the connections that I've showed you guys pretty much proves that, in my opinion. I mean, the amount of just putting it all together, putting all the American Horror Story predictive programming connections in with the Watts narrative, and coming up with the same names and everything. It's just it's overwhelming, and it's pretty brilliant at the same time. Actually, it's really brilliant. I've never seen so much in one case or event ever. And maybe there was a ton. I just didn't, I didn't cover those other events extensively like I'm doing with this case. But just the amount of preparation that it takes years. There's several other events that have gone, the certain one that just happened like in the past year, right? There's evidence that planning was going all the way back to 2011. So, like when these events are planned that far in advance, they are not going to go through all that trouble just to potentially gain like one thing. There's always going to be multiple objectives. But what I'm trying to show you guys is that just because someone says that this is what you're looking at, or this is what the narrative says, like it doesn't make it true. And just because it's the government, why? Because they're higher authority over us. Just because the government says that it's true, that means it is. That's not it's not the case at all. And that's why I changed my channel name to Think for Yourself, because it's so important, especially these days, because things can be so deceiving and be so easily manipulated, and people can be manipulative. I mean, they can seem like the nicest, most intelligent person, but they could be manipulative. And then the thing about manipulation is you don't know you're being manipulated, because if everybody knew that, then it wouldn't be, a very good manipulation tactics. But I'm not the best. I know that I'm not the best with explaining things, and I'm really, really trying. I wish, again, that I had like an interpreter, except for instead of a different language, they were just a better speaker than I was. But I'm really trying, and I'm not good with the psychological aspect of explaining things as far as that goes. Like I can see it and I can visualize it and I know it, but like, for instance, when it comes to I use this example a lot, actually. See how this 15-minute video is going to turn into an hour? Called it. Take, for example, the Nate's footage of Chris loading the bodies into his truck, right? Of course, there's video footage, right? Then you have the mainstream media and also law enforcement, where it states in their narrative it says that Chris murdered his family, took them out of the house, and loaded their bodies into the truck, right? And then you have the mainstream media also telling us that same narrative. But on top of that, instead of just their words, now they give us video footage, right? So now that's even more believable compared to just mainstream media and law enforcement writing it in text and saying this is what happened, or just telling us on some sort of news program, right? So now it's like, okay, we have actual video footage, but and I get it, right? I get it. People are like, okay, but I see him carrying Shanann out, right? And carrying the bodies, but it's like, do you really see that, or do you just think you're seeing it because that's what you were told is happening? And I get it, because why would anybody question it otherwise, right? Why would anybody say, besides like, someone like myself, but why would anybody say that that's not what's happening, right? Why would they have any reason to think that they would lie to us about what's happening? And then, see, that's why I'm not very good at the psychological side of it. So, like, I'm really trying here. Because, like, okay, so I've been in chats and I've said the same thing. I said, we don't actually see Chris carrying out the bodies, right? We don't actually see bodies on that footage, right? We do see what, yes, looks like him dragging bodies out. He's walking backwards, going back in. So, so yes, does it appear like that's what Chris is doing? But do we actually physically have solid evidence of that? Do we see any of that at all as far as bodies go? It could be anything. It could be anything that he was dragging. And so I'll say that in a live chat, and I've had several people say, but we saw it. I saw it. I saw him dragging Shanann's body out. And I said, no, you didn't. I said, unless you have a different video, some sort of other footage that I haven't seen, please show me. Because as far as I know, the only video there is the one where you can't see any bodies on that camera, or any physical proof that that's what Chris is doing. And again, yes, does it look like that or appear like that's what he's doing? And is that what we've been told or led to believe he's doing? But you can't, and I'll tell him in the chat, I'm like, you can't see anything. It's all circumstantial evidence. But the majority of people will just believe that that's what's happening because they were not only told that, but because they are seeing it on camera. But they're really not. Does that make sense? Oh, God, I'm the worst at this. So my point is that things can be very manipulative. Because even though it does look like that's what Chris is doing, there's no proof that he's loading anything into that truck. It only just looks like that. So it's all about not manipulation, but things can be deceiving, especially on video camera or in pictures, right? Because I could, good night, Samantha. Hey, Crisis Cast. I could make the exact same video, and I could walk backwards, and I could tell you that I was loading the bodies of my family or whatever. And I would actually that'd be actually a pretty interesting test, and just do that, but do it to random people that don't know anything about the case, and see what they say, or just not even tell them what's going on, and see if they say, hey, I think she's dragging bodies into I don't know, that would just be interesting. But again, are people really seeing Chris load bodies, or is it just because that's what they were told is happening and that's what it seems like they're seeing on the camera, or what looks like him loading bodies? Does that make sense? I hope so. Hey, monsters. So, I mean, that's just like one example, but because again, just because we see it on body camera footage, it doesn't mean that it's factual. All it means is that you're just watching a video and I guess believing it because that's what the narrative says is going on. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll try to work on this explaining thing.
What else can I do with this?
My detective just showed up, so he'll probably want to talk to you.
And I'm sorry, but why is every single media file in this stupid case have such poor quality? I mean, listen to that static on Coonrod's body cam. And I'm almost certain that on either, one or multiple of the documentaries that they showed this on, there's no static. Why is there no static on the ones on Netflix or, like I said, the documentaries? But then we get this that they released to us. And why were all the pictures of Chris and Kessinger all grainy and poor quality? But then when that other channel creator got those duplicate ones, but then also new ones from the sand dunes and all those selfies of Nicole Kessinger, they were freaking clear as day. So why would Weld County downgrade the quality of the media files and have such poor quality, audio quality? I mean, it's 2018 at this time. There's no reason why this body camera footage should not be clear as day.
Probably, like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there is any sort of action out
I
there,
know his camera's
I
like,
would have got it.
like
Right.
we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that. And I had parked my truck
I
right
had
here.
to park right here.
Yeah. So
So you
someone,
can see if
I could
anything
see where someone
happened.
tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there, and it was just like.
But if
Okay, so maybe I should have played my video that I did about Nate's camera. Maybe I should do that real quick because I've been trying to say this for a while now, and allegedly, and says Nate to Coonrod that his motion clips or his camera records for about 30 seconds. But these two clips, this one of Chris backing his truck into the driveway, as well as the one where Nicole Atkinson is, pulling away from the house, those are both longer than 30 seconds. So either Nate's wrong, right? Like, so that doesn't make sense. How can they be only 30 seconds long, these motion clips? And I go over this in my video that I might show you guys, because it's, both of them are at least, I think, over a minute long. So how is that possible if they're only 30 seconds? Yeah, I think I will play that real quick. Just give me 1 second, please. Oh, and I apologize for the robot voice narration. Sorry, it takes a minute to load. Hey Arch, good to see you. Since Nate's security camera footage has been released, we've been under the impression that his camera only records motion. Since Nate's security camera footage has been released, we've been under the impression that his camera only records motion and for only 30 seconds at a time.
Nate explains that he has household surveillance cameras on the outside of his house that face toward the direction of the Watts home, and they record 24/7, and they record 24/7.
Xfinity has 2 viewing options for home security: continuous live footage without recording, or 24/7 video recording. With the 24/7 recording option, you can record, rewind, and review your video footage.
My camera.
Is this on continually
Yep.
recording?
Yep. Well,
It's not, is it
any
motion or is it,
event,
okay, so it's motion.
any motion event that happens, I get cars driving from this street, from this street. This is him at 517.
Usually park out there on the side. I just want to get everything back in. Be easier, so lugging everything out there, all the tools that I had to bring in. What else can I do with this?
My detective just showed up, so he'll probably want to talk to you. He'd probably, like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there was any sort of action out
On
there,
his cameras,
I would have got it.
like
Right.
we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that. And I had parked my truck
I
up
had
here.
to park right here.
Yeah. So someone,
See if
I could
anything
see where
happened.
someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there, and it was just like,
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I would
yeah,
have
if it
got
would
it.
have been like right in that area, it should have picked me.
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
You know where that trigger is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Watch, I'll show you. There's nothing on here. We've already watched that one. But like, you'll see this car.
What security system do you have?
You can see this car starting to drive down the street.
That one.
Oh, what?
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
He's next door.
Can we go?
I was talking about dispatcher. He'll be close for.
Cause yeah, we can pick up cars coming this way. I get anything coming this way and making this turn. So, and usually at night I pick up the cars pulling a U-turn. So unless they pulled right here,
Yeah.
but I would have caught her walking out. Diesel.
You're good.
Yeah, I thought nothing.
If you look at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, it shows that Nate's camera is recording live. If Nate only had the live view option, it would not show the record icon. Okay, I want to pause it there because is this gonna go away too? Probably not. Go away, go away. Live view option, No. it would not show the record. It goes away on my phone. Go away. Go away. Well, I think you guys can see it even with the bar. So, and I know it's kind of blurry, obviously, but there's nothing that's clear in this case. So it makes it quite difficult. But I've not gotten arguments with people, but I've tried to correct several people because again, people keep saying that Nate's camera, and even Nate said it, that it only records motion, and that's not true at all. The motion clips, because I have a camera similar to it, the motion clips are for convenience. So, like for instance, with my camera, like you have to pay. Like I only had this option for a couple months because I was using the trial for the premium. But if you pay for that, you can have 24/7 recording, and then so you can go into the app and you'll see on the time bar throughout the day, there'll be little ticks, like little lines in the time bar, and those are all of the motion clips. So instead of me having to like scroll through at like a specific time or something, or to see when there's movement, those ticks are there, those lines are there for convenience, and you can just click on it because those all represent motion. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the motion clips are for. Now, in this video, I'm trying to prove that Nate's camera is not only motion activated, that it records 24/7. So what I did is I went and obviously I listened to what they said, and it says that Nate has Comcast Home or Xfinity Home. So I went to their website and I looked up Xfinity Home and what the options are with it, and that's the one where you can speak on through your remote control of your TV and direct, and give it instructions to pull up the camera or to change the channel, turn down the volume, whatever. And we see that Nate does have that because he speaks into the remote control. So if you go to the Xfinity website, they don't have a lot of options for their security. There's literally like two options. One option is the live viewing only. So it doesn't record. It's just, you can watch it on camera and that's it. Live view. The other option is 24/7 recording. And to me, when I see 24/7, to me that means 24/7. It doesn't mean that it records like I don't know. I'm trying to remember what someone told me before, but 24/7 means 24/7. So you can see that he does have that 24/7 option and not the live only. The live viewing only. And I think I do go over that in this video, but I just wanted to pause it here and talk about it because when I saw it come up. So again, it's blurry, but you can see here it says you can see here it says camera, right? And then down here there's a little circle and it says recording. If Nate only had motion activation on his phone, on his camera, that would not say recording. Then here it says connecting because he's going to connect to the other motion clips. And just like it says here, instead of a timestamp, it shows the recording icon. And now when Weld County released, and even I forget her name, it's the Lucy Harrison video, where she at the beginning, before she shows the footage, she shows the files of all the clips. And I think it was through the lens that in the chat that said it, but they released them all in 3-minute clips. Well, if you go to Xfinity's website, it will tell you that you have an option to save your motion clips in either 1, 2, or 3 minutes. That's the most you can save. That's to save, for instance, if something something happened in front of your house and you wanted to save that particular moment, you can save the motion clip for up to 3 minutes. Now, you have the 24-hour recording that goes into your cloud for up to 7 days. Because obviously, if it recorded 24/7 all the time and it didn't delete it within a certain amount of days, that would be a lot of data being taken up. So let me just finish this video out, and then maybe I explain it better in my videos than I do. Maybe I explain it better in my videos than I do. I think the girl in the video, or the chick in the video, explains it much better than I do. Like, that made sense, Megan. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Icon.
Did you go check if anything was missing around your house?
There wasn't nothing. It was like all the old blankets and stuff. And then her nightstand. Her phone was still there.
Because she dropped her off at 1 in the morning, right?
My doorbell said 1:48. She came in.
Okay. This is for February at 1:48.
So as soon as it picks up motion, it like back off. Okay. I thought you.
That was the start of the video.
Yep.
That was 1:48.
In the morning.
I didn't pick her up going into the house though.
It didn't. And I usually pick him up when he comes walking through here. I pick him up. So it doesn't show her walking into the house. If she would have walked by, we would have saw him. That's funny.
Okay.
The other dogs. They see all these people coming in, they're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And you know it's still live because it's flagging within
How long does it typically record for?
30 seconds, I believe, at a time. But this is at 1:48, and then the next one I have is 1:05, whatever. So nothing, no cars came through, because I guarantee, with the headlights, it picks up the headlights
Oh, yeah.
automatically.
And my Vivint said that at 5:27, my garage door was left open. But that could have been the sensor as well. It says it was shut during the day. But I think when Nikki's son, he may try to move the door around, maybe when they were trying to get in the garage door, and it probably broke the laser there. Because my alarm started going off.
Well, I know you said the front door you tried going in, but you have to lock up.
That's for
So
the
that
kids,
set
so
it
they have
off,
to get out.
right?
And our remote on the outside doesn't work anymore. It got wet. It's the whole radio on the ground.
Yeah, that was it.
All right, appreciate your.
If Nate's camera only records for 30 seconds or so at a time, then why is there only one clip of Chris loading his truck? And if Nate's camera records 24/7, then why don't we see Nicole Atkinson pull into the driveway or Shanann walking up to the door? Okay, so I think I even did a follow-up video to that one. I think. Let me check. What the heck? I just saw that. I think I did a live stream about it actually, but I just saw it. And now I don't see it. Hey, you forgot some dirt. I think there's... No. Sorry, if it makes you dizzy, don't look. I just saw it. It's something about Nate's camera footage. You guys see it? Like, you guys see it? Like, what are we looking for, Megan? Okay, sorry about that. I found it.
But on Coonrod's body cam, Nate's saying that it's only motion activated, and then and let me know if you guys can still hear me because I put have 1-8 2019. We know that they made phone calls 37 minutes and leaving at approximately
Okay, so here, oh, you guys can't see. Okay, sorry about that. I was like, you guys can't see. Okay, so, yes, here in the discovery, it does say at 5:27 a.m., Watt's truck is observed backed into the driveway and leaving a short time later. The surveillance video or videos is only motion activated clips which appeared to have a delayed recording response. Using Trinistitch's Xfinity login and password at a later time, I was able to observe Watt's work truck parked in his driveway for about 37 minutes and leaving at approximately 0545 hours. A legal request to Xfinity for the full-length video is pending. So, I'm confused. We'll get back to the motion clips, but it says that he observed him in his driveway for about 37 minutes, right? Yes. Does it say that there are clips up here? But then it says a legal request to Xfinity for the full-length video is pending. I mean, that's the 37 minutes long. So what else? What other? If he only backed his truck in for 10 minutes, then what is the 7-minute video footage that he saw or he watched? And then how much more is in the full-length video? And I even go, I think in this live stream, and I show, I swear I could have made it, I thought I made a follow-up video. But, okay, so I must have just been on the live stream. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably not. Let me minimize it. Wait. Oh. Minimize it, and then I'll make it bigger. Okay, that's not working either. So I'm just going to read it to you if you guys can't read that, because it is pretty small. So this is straight from the Xfinity website / Comcast, because they merged or whatever. It says, what is video 24/7 video recording? 24/7 video recording is an exciting service that automatically records video and sound from compatible cameras connected to your Xfinity Internet or Xfinity Home system, which is what Nate had. With 24/7 video recording, you can go beyond live video, keep an eye on your home from anywhere using your smartphone or other device, easily review all of your video from the past several days, or use motion and timestamps to go straight to the action, plus download and share memorable events. So, like I said earlier, it records 24/7, and the motion clips are for convenience, just as it says. Easily review all of your video from the past several days, or use motion and timestamps to go straight to the action. So that's if you knew a specific time, like say your neighbor said, hey, I think we saw someone suspicious outside your home at this time. Instead of scrolling, and they weren't certain, maybe it was within a 2-hour span or something. Instead of scrolling through the whole 2 hours of the live footage, you can just go straight to the motion clips or the timestamps for convenience, and find where motion, because obviously you're not, even though it's 24-hour recording, you're not going to have motion all the time. So again, the timestamps are for convenience. And we know, like I showed you in the video, that Nate does have that 24/7 option because it says recording. If it was only the live view and motion clips only, it wouldn't say recording in the bottom left-hand corner.
Depends on your subscription.
Okay, so and then here it says, will 24/7 video recording count toward my internet data usage? Yes, cameras with 24/7 video recording continuously send video to the cloud so that you can access the video anytime, anywhere. The camera transfers the video using your internet connection, which contributes to your total data usage. If you have Xfinity Internet, usage from 24/7 video recording will be reflected in your usage meter and count toward any data usage plan that may apply. I mean, and I don't know how much clearer that can, like, or what other option that means, or what else it could mean when it says 24/7 recording. So, and just because, like, law enforcement is saying that it's, or that Nate is, because clearly Nate's wrong. Nate is wrong when he told Coonrod that it was only 30 seconds, and he just proved himself wrong, or debunked himself, because we literally sat there and watched those clips for longer than 30 seconds. They're well over a minute. And what are the odds that they were both under 3 minutes? Because the longest time you can save on those motion clips is 3 minutes. 1, 2, 3 minutes. That's why the video files that Weld County sent were all 3-minute clips, because it records 24/7, and they just took those 3-minute clips from the 24/7 footage. Okay. 24/7 video recording can be enabled on any compatible Xfinity camera. When 24/7 video recording is turned on for a camera, the live video feed from the camera is continuously recording. When the camera detects motion, an event bookmark is created, which is the motion clips. And then in the live stream, I go over this again. See how it says recording right here? That's means 24/7 recording. And again, the only other option is the live feed, which you can only just watch whatever's going on the camera. It doesn't record anything. So there's only 2 options that you have with Xfinity, or at least at that time. Might be different now. Viewing live video and motion to clip vents. You can review your video recordings using the Xfinity Home app. Sign into the Xfinity Home app. On the overview screen, scroll down to the desired camera and tap the view. Each camera screen shows a live view from the camera and a list of all bookmarked motion event clips. Scroll down to see the motion events for the past several days. So then it shows timestamps here. And let me know if I'm yelling, because I feel like I'm yelling. I don't know why. Okay, so it says, if you have 24/7 video recording enabled for the selected camera, a red dot record on lower left. So just in the previous clip, the dot, I think the dot should be red. I don't know why it's white, but either way, it says recording, and it might have been different in 2018 compared to 2019 when I got these screenshots from the website. But it still says recording in the bottom left-hand corner with the dot. You can view all motion recordings, or you can filter for recordings showing people or vehicles. Cameras with 24/7 video recording record camera feed and create short video clips whenever the camera detects motion. You can play back motion events on your X1 TV box, which is, I'm assuming what we watched on Kunad's body camera footage of the clips that Nate showed. And even at the beginning of the video, what's his face? Steve Wren tells the cameras or whatever on the show, on the documentary, that Nate's camera records 24/7. So why is Steve Wren saying that, the assistant DA? Why is he saying it records 24/7, but in the discovery it's saying it's only motion activated? So which one is it? Why is there so many discrepancies? Why why do so many things not add up in this case? Do they not know like what they're talking about? Are they confused? Like, how do they not know whether or not it records 24/7 or if it's only motion activated? Which one is it? And that's what we need to know. We need to know why. I mean, I know that it's 24/7 because it says I'm more inclined to believe or go with the website. It's their company, it's their product, than believe something that people involved, such as Rourke and law enforcement, are obviously lying about something with this case. So I think I'm going to go ahead with Xfinity. And from what my eyes see. Sorry, I probably could have just gone to the website, but you actually do have to kind of search for the specific information. And I knew that it was in my live stream, so. So there is somewhere on the website in my live stream or in my video that I made where it does say that the clips are up to 3 minutes long. Okay? Because again, why are there so many different accounts of what this actual camera system does? Because again, Nate says 30 seconds, and clearly it's not 30 seconds because we sat there and watched it for over 30 seconds. And then Steve Wren says it's 24/7 that Nate had on the documentary, but then in the Discovery it says that it's only motion activated. So which one is it? Why is there so many discrepancies? Okay, so let's continue.
Any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I would
Yeah,
have.
if it would have been like right in that area, they should have picked, I mean,
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
you know where that tree is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Watch, I'll show you. There's nothing on here, we've already watched that one. But right, you'll see this car. Watch, I'll show you. There's nothing on here, we've already watched that.
Okay, so let me get that back off the screen there. I can't use my pointer without the time thing coming up here, the play bar. But so if these are the clips from, oops, my laptop is touchscreen. You can see the 4 clips above, or actually there's, I think, the one on the, so there's 4 on top and then 1 on the bottom. The one on the bottom is Chris loading his truck, I believe. And then the one on the very top to the very right is, I don't even know, but I think it's Nicole Atkinson's. We'd have to look again, pulling away. But if that's from only, if these are the only clips from that day, the August 13th, how is that possible? Where are all the motion clips from so many people going in and out of the house? And I know this sounds repetitive, but where is the motion clips of Nicole Atkinson pulling into the driveway? She pulled into pretty much the same exact spot that Chris pulled his truck into. Where are all those motion clips? There's a lot of traffic in and out of that house. Why isn't the motion clip of Nicole Atkinson walking into Nate's later on, why didn't it pop up on the screen? Where are all those motion clips? I want to know. Because, again, a lot of people went in and out of that house that day. Up until that point. So where are they? Where are all those clips? I'm looking for some clips. I can't find any clips. Motion clips, I should say. If I say it by itself, it sounds not right. So, like, did Megan just say what I think she said? Because even Nate says that he only had 2 clips from that day, right? Motion clips. He had Nicole Atkinson leaving and Chris pulling into the driveway. And those are both on the 13th because they were after midnight. So how is it possible that those are the only 2 clips on on his TV. Okay, Nuck and Futz. Feel better. Get some rest. Thank you for hanging out for a little bit. I know it takes me forever to get to my point. I get it.
But like you'll see this car.
What security systems do you have?
You can see this car starting to drive down the street.
That one.
Oh, look.
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
That's cool.
He's next door.
Can we go?
I was talking about dispatcher.
What security systems do you have?
Okay, so this one says at 9:30 a.m. So maybe Nate meant that there's only 2 clips, I guess, that have to do with Chris. But still, where are the rest of the clips of all these people going in and out of Nate's house or showing up to Chris's? Because that's already all happened, remember? Because Chris wasn't even there yet. I mean, we should see heads, like, you know, unless they snuck right by the truck, but still. I can't see anything on that clip because it was 9:30 in the morning and the sun was there, but the main point I am trying to make is that it records 24/7. So the whole motion only thing, I don't care what it says in the discovery. I'm going by what I can physically see and what the actual Xfinity website tells me. And what they tell me on their site matches Nate's equipment, which means he has 24/7 recording. In my opinion, 24/7 means 24/7, period.
You can see this car starting to drive down the street.
That one.
Oh, look.
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
That's cool.
He's next door.
Can we go?
I was talking about dispatcher. It'll be code 4.
Oh, you need me to go? Is that my cue? Is that my line?
You gotta get anything coming this way and making this turn. So, and usually at night I pick up the cars pulling the ear trim. So, unless they pulled right here,
Yeah.
but I would have caught her walking out. Diesel.
You're good.
But yeah, I thought nothing.
Nothing for the rest of the day.
No, that's it.
Okay, so we didn't get very far. We got it through a few seconds. Here's my area of expertise, I guess, if you want to call it that. If you take the original from the FX network, if you find that teaser, Apocalypse teaser, and you align it and match it up with this teaser that comes on Nate's TV, Nate's version is about like roughly 4 seconds shorter than the official teaser. Why would it not be the same length? 4 seconds is, maybe that doesn't seem like a lot, but 4 seconds is a lot when you're talking about, you know, cutting out stuff from a trailer or a teaser that you're promoting. Hey, Nina. In my opinion, the reason why they cut 4 seconds out of this teaser, if they would have put those 4 seconds in, it would have made it, even though it's only 4 seconds, it would have made it too obvious. Because if you guys, if you watch this again and from a different perspective and watch how they're all just staring at it, like they knew that this teaser was going to come up. And why didn't Nate immediately change? Or why did he even go back into the live television? And if we're going to watch it, we might watch it a couple times, maybe even a few, because they literally look like they're sitting there waiting for it to finish, to let it play out. Why would they do that? And again, why wouldn't the official teaser from FX Network be the same length as Nate's? And it's not like he cut the end out, because if you match them up, it's definitely spliced, like, to shorten it so it doesn't look like they're sitting there staring at this and watching the entire thing and making it too obvious. I mean, look, you can see them right here. Look, they're literally just staring right at it. I mean, granted, yes, they're waiting for Nate to pull up the footage, but, well, let's just watch.
She's pregnant as well.
How far along?
14, 15 weeks.
Look, and Nate's still waiting for it. He doesn't even press his remote until it's practically almost done. And then Chris turns to Coonrod and goes, "She's pregnant, by the way." Okay, did you just remember that by watching that freaky, crazy teaser that just so happened to pretty much perfectly match or mirror the case, essentially what happened? I mean, it's. Do I believe in spiritual things and other phenomenons? Personally, yes, I do. Do I believe that this has anything from the other side or some sort of sign from Shanann? No. It was put there on purpose for us to see. Just like the rest of this body cam footage and all of the discovery was put out for us to see. Not because they're trying to be transparent for us, because they're doing us a favor, because they've never done it before, so why now? There's a ton of other high profile murder cases. And I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me why so much information in this case was released and not in any other one. And why there's so many unanswered questions when we have so much documentation. It should be open and shut. There's no reason why we should all be sitting here 2.5 years later going, what the fuck happened in this case? There's less unanswered questions in cases where we didn't get all this information, where we didn't get all this body cam footage, where we didn't get 1,960 pages of discovery files. How is that possible? How are there so many unanswered questions when we have so much, or not, I'm not even going to say so much, but when we have more information than we have in other cases? And why is there so much documentation? It's like, oh, luckily there was Nate's camera footage, right, that caught Chris loading the bodies of his family to push the narrative into our heads. But oddly enough, there isn't a single freaking camera or video footage that they provided for us, or that conveniently either did not have a video camera, did not work. It only recorded, or it only was live feed. You couldn't record at the Lazy Dog, whichever one it was, doesn't matter. But how convenient, you know, they didn't get the CCTV camera footage from the highway or the roads to verify that Chris was even the one that drove to Cervi by himself, or even drove to Cervi in the first place. But how convenient, again, that we have the Nate's camera footage that just so happened to be pointed at Chris's driveway. Just right in the right spot. It just happens to have a bush perfectly right there, so you can't see the front of Chris's truck. So you don't know anything that's going on there. Everything is freaking blurrier than shit. So, again, how convenient that we have the one footage that pushes that narrative into our brains, but we don't have any other footage that would give us some sort of closure or some sort of understanding or evidence to anything that this case is claiming. It's all, this case, everything was put out for the public for a reason. They wanted us to watch these videos. They wanted us to break them down, dive down the discovery rabbit hole and try and figure stuff out. And then they know that we're going to start noticing inconsistencies. And we're going to try to figure out why things don't add up, because the ones who, the source, like Rourke and law enforcement, they're not going to tell us why shit doesn't add up. They're not going to answer our questions for us. So that what they do is, and I've seen it before in another case, and I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. The reason why they release so much information, in my opinion, is so that we will bury our heads in this case. And they only release enough information to get us, because it does seem like a lot of information, right? And I talked about this on my last stream. It does seem like a lot of data, if you want to call it that. But if you really think about it, they really didn't give us anything significant at all that would give us some sort of understanding as to why Chris did what he did, or to give us some sort of closure. They released just enough information to and what they want us to see, not what a real life investigation would have. You're going to have all of that non-relevant stuff included, but then you're also going to have all the relevant stuff. Not, oh, we're only going to show you this, and we're only going to show you that, and we're not going to show you this video footage from this interview with Nicole Kessinger, and we're not going to show you the front of Chris's face. We're going to show you the back of his big old dome during his interview, just in case he decides to show some duper's delight. Again, we can't be having Chris do that when he's supposed to be serious and confessing to murdering his family. So they only show us what they want us to see, what's going to push the narrative. And then they also leave a bunch of holes. And then there's probably some normal discrepancies. But then there's also other little things that they put in there, like how Troy went back for the rent, right? So now people are thinking that Troy was involved. And then they have Jim. They have character Jim, right? Leave Jim alone. They throw him into the story or the narrative. But they don't give us hardly any information about the dude. Except for that it was Nicole's friend and they talked a bunch of times on the phone. They don't even tell us, or even if they lied to us, they don't even pretend that and tell us that they did interview the guy. They don't even tell us that either way. So now people are going, well, was he interviewed or not? Or was he even investigated? Or what? Like, what's going on? Did they redact his interview? You know, what the fuck? So now, and then people go down that rabbit hole and think that Jim did it. You know, it's done like that on purpose. The people who organize these events have been doing it for years, and they're good at it. Because since they've been doing it for years, they've been studying us like, you know, essentially lab rats. They know what is going to keep people interested, or what's going to pull at heartstrings, or what's going to piss people off. It's psychological. It's why it's called a PSYOP operation. That's why nothing in this case makes sense, you guys. That's why a lot of people can't seem to get away from it, because it pulls people in, and it's done that way on purpose. And as far as I know, no one else is giving some sort of answer. I know that my theory is not 100% like factual hard evidence, but my proof is in the patterns. And that's what these people do, the ones that are controlling the narrative and who are orchestrating these events. They use the same itinerary, the same techniques, the same characteristics in all of these orchestrated events. It doesn't matter what kind. Of course, they're not going to be all 100% the same, because they are going to have other characteristics that cater to that specific event. But for the most part, they use the same patterns, and they're not going to switch them up as long as they keep working, and they do. But once you know how these people operate, once you can start to see these Easter eggs and the symbolism that they put in plain sight, and I'm hoping that one day that their symbolism will be their downfall, because they literally, I kid you not, put it in plain sight, and the majority of people have no idea that they're being manipulated and they're being lied to. Yeah, it is, right, Sunshine? It is stupid that I can't say that word. There's some creators that are too afraid to even say GUN. That's how bad the censorship is on here. Again, myself and other, you know, conspiracy theorists, whatever you want to call us, or truthers, they're not questioning every single event. They're not saying that everything is orchestrated. They're not saying that, and I'm not saying that. We are only questioning the ones that have all these red flags and have so many holes in their narrative. And that are continuously showing these same patterns over and over again. And I'm more inclined to believe something that's consistent, such as patterns. But you have to be, and I'm sorry, I know I'm on a rant, and like I said, it's only a 15-minute video, and it's, yeah. But I mean, I sometimes forget that, because I do get frustrated, because to me and to, you know, others, like, as far as I know, I'm the only one that's pointing out inconsistencies in these homicide cases and true crime. Okay, sorry about that. There was like a really loud truck that just drove by. I was like, whoa. I'm the only one that's, as far as I know, pointing out these inconsistencies in these, you know, for now, the Watts case. But I've been, you know, researching a little bit and watching videos here and there of these other cases, and I'm already seeing red flags in those, but I want to concentrate for at least a little bit while longer and focus on this case, and then hopefully branch out to these other homicide cases that I believe are also orchestrated. Not all of them, but again, just the ones that don't add up. But so what I was saying is I sometimes forget that just because myself and other truthers that are covering the other events, the bigger ones, I mean, this is big, but you have the other ones that I shall not be mentioned. Just because it's obvious to us, it doesn't mean that it's going to be obvious to you guys or anybody else. And I tend to forget that only for a second sometimes, but I do, for the most part, remember that. And I think that's, that's why I don't want to like be in your face or say, wake up, like shake you guys. Not really, obviously, because you're not in front of me, but I wouldn't do that anyways, even if you were in front of me, because I'm not a violent person. But sometimes it takes years for someone to see and to see everything that I'm saying and talking about, and some may never. I'm just hoping that the ones that are here, that there's potential. Because if you guys are here, that means you guys have an open mind, and that's fantastic. Because again, my theory is not for everybody, by all means. So if you just stick it out with me for a little while longer, I would be very surprised if you did not have a different outlook on this case, or if you don't already. And so, real quick before I finish this, because I want to go into the American Horror Story a little bit. I know. Oh my God, here she goes again with her connections. What's up with her in American Horror Story? Why don't you just go, be an actress in there or something? I don't know. Okay. Never mind. Now I don't remember. Space Cadet. Oh, I remember. Thank you, Michelle. I'm not sure why your comment reminded me, but it did. She said it's really hard to wake some people up about some things. And yes, 100% I agree. If you are emotionally attached to this case, or if you have been emotionally affected by this case emotionally in any way, or if you have, in my opinion, if you have a bias towards any one of these people involved, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to not have tunnel vision and essentially open up to what I'm saying, because and that's why, I mean, again, I definitely do not explain things well, so that it makes it difficult. But AIDS, hey girl, I got all excited. AIDS, Adelina. It makes it more difficult for me because, like I said, I'm not the best at explaining things, but they make these cases so horrific on purpose. The more horrific, the better, because that means the more emotional people will get. And what's more tragic than murdering your entire family and dumping their bodies at your place of work, right? In oil tanks and in a shallow grave. I mean, it doesn't get more tragic or horrific than that, and tragic, right? So They do that on purpose so that people do not think logically. When they hear the horrificness of the narrative, all they think is, oh my God, that's terrible. That woman and her poor little girls. How could somebody do this? And when people are emotional, maybe not everybody, but usually when you're emotional, you don't think clearly, right? Because you're so upset. And when you're emotional and you're in that state, all logic seems to just go out the window. So you're going to have a better chance of being able to see what I'm trying to show you guys if you can somehow, and I know it's going to be difficult, especially going on over 2 years now, if you can find a way to push your emotions aside somehow. Sorry, my kitty wanted out of the room. If you can somehow find a way to, one, push your emotions aside, and two, try not to have a bias towards like Nicole Kessinger, or you just, if you want to find evidence and facts, you can't have that, because you're gonna miss important facts or evidence. You know what I mean? Like, so if a homicide detective goes to a crime scene and he sees a child and a mother were brutally murdered, and if he has any feeling like of like sadness or emotion that comes over him, as a detective, he needs to be honest about that and go to his superior or whatever and say, look, I think that this specific case with the mother and daughter, I think it might prevent me from doing my job 110%, because it did, I felt like it, especially since I have kids, it affected me a little bit too much. So I think that I'd probably be better off not. Because when you bring emotions into it, again, you're going to miss potential evidence. See what I'm saying? The reason why I was able to see this case for what it really is because I'm not emotionally affected by it. Not because I'm heartless, or I don't think murder is sad, or that I'm just a POS. It's because I know the truth about this case, and I know that there's no reason to let my emotions take over. So if you can do that, if you can push emotions aside and try not to have a bias, because trust me, I want Nicole Kessinger to not pay for what she's done. That sounds like I'm like threatening her, but I want justice as well. But I want justice for a different reason. I want justice because we have all been deceived, lied to, and we don't deserve that. And not just in a cover-up deception. I'm talking on a much larger scale. I'm talking about full 100% have been deceived. All around with this case. So just because I don't think that Kessinger was involved in any murders, or I don't think she's innocent by all means, she 100% had every knew exactly what she was doing in this case. Okay, she was a part of it. She played her role, and she played it great. She's now the most hated woman in the world. If probably. Or at some point she was. So anyways, sorry for that little rant there. Long rant. So back to what we're seeing. Okay, again, why is this footage shorter than, and I made a video on it and I never did post it. I'll see if it won't take me long to line it up again, but again, it's about roughly 4 seconds shorter. Why would that teaser be shorter than the official teaser from the FX network? If they had, in my opinion, like I said earlier, left those 4 seconds on, it's already suspicious enough as it is. I mean, I'll play it again. You can see they're literally watching, waiting for this teaser to be over. And they're staring intently at it. And why isn't Nate changing it? Why is he waiting for it? Why did he even go back to the live feed? It's put there on purpose. They wanted us to see this. One, because it promoted the show. It got me to go watch the show, so I can only imagine how many other people went and watched American Horror Story. So if if it intrigued me enough to go watch it, and again, I might have done it intrigued me for a different reason, simply because I had already been suspicious about this case, before I saw this. But the fact that it practically mirrored the narrative, I was like, okay, this looks really similar to predictive programming and their little Easter eggs that they like to use. So I went and I watched all of American Horror Story. So not only does it promote the show, but it also gets people to go and watch the show and subliminally put their Easter eggs and their connections into our brains subconsciously. For whatever reason, not sure exactly why they do it. Again, there's a couple theories. All I know is that that's what they do. They do it. It's real. It's not a conspiracy. And there's way too many of these connections, and they're way too similar for any of them to be coincidental. It's not like I'm going and saying, oh, look, Chris and Shanann, they both had financial troubles, and they were in debt, and they had a bankruptcy, and then this couple in American Story had the same thing, and that means it's orchestrated, and it's predictive programming, because I showed you one connection. That would be ridiculous, because everybody has financial problems. There's millions of people that file for bankruptcy, that have debt for medical bills. That would be ridiculous, 100%. But you have to add in all of the other connections, and some of them where it's not even possible for them to be coincidental because they're too spot on. Especially the Scottsdale clip with the German doctor. And considering that there's no other place in the world called Scottsdale, that makes it, that one in itself, in my opinion, proves what I'm saying with the predictive programming in itself. But that's just one, and that obviously wouldn't work. How many things have to happen until it's no longer coincidental? Until, I don't understand. I don't know how much I can show people. And I know it's very frustrating because my videos I don't know if YouTube is suppressing them. I don't know if it's just people aren't interested in it. I can't imagine that nobody would click on my videos if they were being, just out of curiosity from covering the Watts case, right? I mean, anybody sees a Watts video, they click on it. So I don't know what's going on. But I don't know how many comments I've seen of other channel creators showing this particular scene and going, oh, do you think it was a sign from Shanann? Or do you think it was something else? And they're all going, oh my God, that's crazy. I can't believe how much it mirrors the case. And it's like, if you're shocked about that, if you see my American Horror Story videos, I can only imagine how shocked they would be. But they're not getting the views that needed to, I guess, get the word out. I don't know. But I mean, I'm still in shock, and it's been 2 years about how much work went into this case, how much planning and preparation, and it's overwhelming. Purple Butterfly. Megan, didn't Blackstone own Anadarko and FX where AHS is there? Yes and no. Blackstone and FX Network both had shares with Anadarko. And then Blackstone owns Vivint, which is very interesting. And if you're not familiar with Blackstone, it's a very, very corrupt company. One of the biggest corrupt companies. Not good people. So, again, Blackstone and the FX Network, which airs American Horror Story, both had shares with Anadarko. And Blackstone also owned Vivint. Or owns Vivint, I'm sorry. So is this particular... Hi, Aussie. Is this particular clip part of American Horror Story? Yes. This is the first teaser that aired. They call them teasers. So American Horror Story will... The way they promote the show is they will release, leading up to the season premiere, they will release several teasers or trailers each week to promote the show leading up to the season opener, whatever it's called, season premiere. And they're all different. So they're just little, teasers and sometimes they will be they will have something to do with the show, and sometimes they don't have anything to do with the show, and they just are gory and scary. It just really depends. So this was one of the first one that aired prior to the season premiere, which aired September 2nd, 2018. And then, there's so many connections. Okay. I apologize if you guys have been following me for a while and you've heard me talk about this, but this is, again, one of those, when I say that the majority of what they've showed us or they put in the Discovery or certain things that they say in interviews and questions that they ask, they all mean something. And things can have more than one meaning. Words can have more than one meaning. So, when Chris is asked a question and he answers it, it might seem like one thing to us or the obvious to us, but it might mean something else to them or to, because they're all about their symbolism and their words and their names. So when Chris is being interviewed or interrogated, whatever you want to call it, when Tammy Lee and Coder are there, she says to Chris, did you ever hear about that? And I put it in one of my videos, but did you ever hear about the guy in Aurora who killed that family with a ball-peen hammer? Do you guys remember that part? And Chris says to Tammy, he just kind of goes, and nods. Well, I was not familiar with those murders. So I just, and she didn't mention any names, so I just searched for guy murders family with ball peen hammer in Aurora. So then you get the Aurora murders, and reading through some of the case, just like on a regular news article online, come to find out, not only did he murder the Bennett family, well, prior to those murders, he broke into two or three other homes and like injured one, and they ended up not dying. And then another woman whose home he broke into, he ended up killing her. Guess what day that was on that he killed her? January 10th, 1984. Guess who was allegedly born on that day, or what the narrative says? I mean, as far as we know, I mean, how do we know that any of these people are really who they say they are? I mean, I know that sounds conspiratorial and crazy, but if you think about it, it would not be difficult, especially that they're planned years in advance, to make up these personas of people or these lives. That's why there's hardly any background information about these people. You can't find anything on Kessinger. You can find only what they've shown us, as far as, one picture of Chris and the family, and Sandy, or not Sandy, Chris, and whatever, the one picture, and the picture of a couple pictures of Shanann when she was a baby. But there doesn't seem, a lot of these people involved don't seem to have a history, where normally if you go and you search for someone's name, you can find a buttload of information on them. So it's not that hard to believe, in my opinion, and it wouldn't be that hard to, if they can make someone disappear off the internet, they could just as easily create somebody, or multiple. But anyways, without getting too conspiratorial, where was I? I don't remember. Oh, 19. Oh, the date that he killed that woman, the ball peen hammer, the one that Tammy Lee mentions. Again, majority of what they mention in this case or show us means something. They told us for a reason. So, the day that he killed that woman before the Bennett family murders, January 10th, 1984. Shanann was born on January 10th, 1984. And I'm sure there's some sort of occult symbolism, and if I don't know if Elfin is here, but she could probably answer this for me, but I'm sure it has something to do with like resurrection or one life ending and another being created, something along those lines. But yeah, so she was January 10th. Right. So what are the odds that Tammy Lee, and it's again, like I mentioned in the last live stream, there's many times in this case where something would happen or somebody would say something where I just would say to myself, that was weird. Like, and I would just get this sense that it didn't make sense to me, right? And not like I try to overanalyze anything, but it was just something that I felt periodically through this case. And that was one of those times where I'm like, why did Tammy Lee ask Chris if he knew? It just didn't make sense. It didn't fit into what was going on, in my opinion, and she didn't go into detail as to why she asked Chris that. It didn't fit with what was going on in the interview. But either way, I still felt it was important to research it, and again, come to find out, what are the odds that Tammy Lee just happened to ask Chris about this case in Aurora where a guy killed, a family with a ball peen hammer. And not only that, but he also killed a woman on the day exactly that Shanann was born, January 10th, 1984. And, I'm not done, her mother's name, the woman who the hammer guy killed, that was born on Shanann's birthday, her mother's name is Constance. Constance, we are first introduced to in American Horror Story, Murder House of Season 1. Constance is the Harmon's neighbors that I talked about on my American Horror Story Connections live streams. Constance is not a very common name. I have never met a Constance. If you guys have, it's very possible. But let's be real. It's not like a Jennifer or, an Ashley, or nothing wrong with those names. I don't want them to go, hey, I'm Jennifer and I'm Ashley. But I'm just saying they're very common first names. So that's, those are the kind of things I'm talking about, as far as you don't only just have the fact that Tammy Lee asking that made no sense. Then you have that he killed someone on the day that Shanann was born. And yes, I get it. A lot of people were born on that day, Megan. I totally get that. Understand. But then you add to her mother's name being Constance, and then add that to American Horror Story with all the other connections. And like I said, how many does it take for it to stop being coincidental? That's all I wanted to say about that. Are they Sunshine? Are they? It's Lee. Yeah, Lee's, and that's the thing too. Is yes, is Lee a common name? But you have a number of people in this case, and what are the odds that several of your main characters all share the name Lee? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be possible. But if you know, again, how these people operate and how they love to use symbolism and words, and because words have meaning to them, numbers have meaning to them, names have meaning to them. You have to think not like those people, like the powers that be, the ones in control of these narratives. And if you know how they love names, words, and numbers, and numerology, and symbolism, it makes it that much less coincidental and more on purpose. So what they do is they will use a common name like Lee, right? So that when someone like myself tries to explain that it's not a coincidence that they're all named Lee, and that there is more of a meaning behind it, and that it is done on purpose, what are people going to say to me? They're going to say, Megan, Lee is a very common name. It's like one of the most common names like in the United States, right? So they'll pick a name that's very common, and people will discredit what I'm saying due to the commonality of the name. But if you just research a little bit, and you look up the name Lee, it has several different variations, especially, with the Chinese variations. You have Lee, Li, pronounced Lee, and then you have Lie, also pronounced Lee, but Lie is also the American word of lie. Not only that, but Lee also comes from the Chinese meaning of organic patterns. And if you know how these people operate, and like I mentioned earlier, they love their, hey, Elfin, they love their, I say I had Elfin and then I get sidetracked. Should I change my channel name to Space Cadet? But if you just know how these people operate, you know that they love their patterns. And that's what they do in all of these orchestrated events. Which is why, once you're aware of them, they're very, very easy to spot. And sometimes comical at how just ridiculous they just literally put it in plain sight. I mean, nothing is comical about what they're doing, but hey, Ginger. Hey, Gaj. Your middle name is Nicole Sunshine? Oh, so you have family members with the middle name Lee, and then your name is Nicole. Thank you for the follow, guys. Appreciate it. But yeah, so they will use a common name like Lee or Nicole, so that again, the ones who don't know how these people operate will automatically just, discredit it, like I said, and say, oh, well, Nicole's a common name. It is weird. And Lee's a common name. And that's kind of weird that there's so many. But it is common. So then they'll just, not even think about it again. But if you look up the name Nicole, or Nicholas, actually, it's the German name. It's a German name, and its meaning is victory of the people. Conqueror of the people. To conquer the people. That's what they're trying to do. They're orchestrating these events to control us with fear. To take away rights, to pass laws, social experiments, money, cui bono, who benefits. Okay, gosh, I'll check it out for sure. Thank you. Okay, so I don't want to sound repetitive because I know I'm probably going to hear that. But all of the stuff that I mentioned over and over again, it needs to be repeated. It needs to be repeated over and over again so that it will, stick with you guys. And I'm not going to talk about anything else. I feel like I don't need. In my opinion, I've showed so much, an overwhelming amount of, in my opinion, proof. I don't want to say proof, but evidence. There's too many coincidental things in this case and things that don't add up for my theory not to fit. Because again, at least I'm giving you guys some sort of reason why nothing in this case makes sense. And as far as I know, besides other channel creators saying, oh, it's a cover-up with a whole bunch of theories combined with that cover-up, I'm the only one that is saying, this is what it is. I've not changed my theory. This is why all this information was released. This is why nothing adds up with this case. I'm not speculating. There's a lot of things I don't know exactly how they did it, who was 100% involved, who was not, because how would I know that unless I was a part of it, it'd be impossible. All I know is what I see in the patterns that I've seen over the years with these other same events. Hey, doing life my way. Good to see you. So, again, I'm not... If somebody can give me some sort of reason, another reason as to why this case doesn't add up, besides the obvious cover-up with a bunch of theories thrown in with it, then please, like, let me know, because I don't have any theories for you guys. Like, I mean, maybe that's why, I don't know, I don't get a lot of views on my live streams, but I'm not here to throw out theories for you guys. I'm not here to, and the theories are exciting, I get it, and because people want to solve it, and my theory is not for everybody, of course, because, it's, I don't know, because I guess maybe it's not very exciting, or people don't want to know that they've been 100% lied to, that they might have possibly, that the case did affect their lives to where, you know, some people have cried many times about this case and about those girls in Shanann. So you think the last thing they're going to want to hear from me is, well, I hate to tell you, but you might have got upset for no reason. Do you think that's what people want to hear? I don't think so. Because again, that would mean they would have to admit, and they would, know that they were duped more than just a cover-up. I mean, who wants to know that, let alone admit it? Like, I didn't even want to go over this body cam footage again because I've seen it so many times. But if that's what I need to do, then I will, because this is how important this case is to me, you guys. Like, I'll do whatever it takes, and I'll say things over and over and over again. I don't care, honestly. It bothers me a little bit that people say that I'm repetitive. I'm not going to lie about that. But at this point, I don't give a shit what they say, to be honest with you, because I'm going to repeat myself until as long as it takes. I will repeat every single American Horror Story connection, every single other breadcrumb, like the Aurora thing that Tammy pointed out. Have you guys seen my latest, any of you seen my latest video with, my electricity power oh my video, part 2? At the end of the video, if you haven't, at the the Wisconsin interview, they asked Chris what kind of books he was reading at Weld County when he was there before he got transferred to Wisconsin. He tells them about a couple other books, and then he says that there's a book that he read by Margaret Truman, which is President Truman's wife, called Murder at the Capitol. Okay? Now, I'm not just basing it on this one thing. Remember, all of the other things that I pointed out about what they've mentioned specifically in this case and how it means something. Chris says he read the book by Margaret Truman, Murder at the Capitol. What just happened a few months ago, a few months ago, after the whole election thing and with, with the orange guy. You had people, and I can't even, I'm nervous to talk about this because it's another one of those events that they orchestrated so that we would react, turn to them for a solution, Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. But when those individuals went into the Capitol all at once. And I'm not talking to this like talking to you guys like you guys are slow or something, but I have to be careful of what I say. And I don't care if someone says, "Okay, Megan, whatever, just say it. Just say it, Megan. Don't be so over dramatic." Yeah, okay, we'll kick rocks. Because I'm not. They, large group went into that building. Capitol. Building. And, which resulted in, a person losing their life because they were pewed by another individual. What are the odds that Mr. Christopher Watts, and if you go back and you listen to how that whole conversation went, I mean, they're like Coder and Tammy Lee are literally there in Wisconsin. They fly all the way out to Wisconsin to ask this convicted murderer, right? Family annihilator, psychopath, what kind of books he read at Will County. Who gives a flying shit? Who gives two Kessinger poops, I would say. Who cares? I thought you went there to go and ask him. You didn't make buddy, and I don't care if someone says, "Oh, that's just a tactic they use to get him to open up." No, there's no tactic when it comes to a convicted freaking psychopathic killer. Since when have you ever heard a psychopathic murderer talk about if he had chocolate milk or regular milk that day, and if he enjoyed the macaroni and cheese? They don't give a fuck about what they. If he was really that crazy and of a monster, do you think he's gonna go, "Oh, hey guys, this is a surprise. Oh, do you mind if we ask you a few questions, Chris?" "Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead, sure, right? No problem. I don't have anybody else to talk to. You might as well just spill the beans to you guys, considering even though you guys are the ones that put me away for the rest of my life. It's not real life. It's just not." Hey, you remember us? Okay, Tammy Lee, you don't think that Chris is... I thought he has a photographic memory. You don't think he's going to remember the people that put him away for multiple life sentences? Oh, how do you like it here? You like, oh, you had no chocolate milk today? Oh, you're not allowed to have chocolate milk yet because you're still a new inmate? Oh, that's a bummer. Sorry about that, Christopher. Surprised they didn't finish that sentence for him because he forgot his lines all the time. They led the entire freaking interview at Wisconsin and every other interview in this case. Nobody could finish their questions or their answers to the questions they were being asked. Oh, did you do that, Chris, because of this? I thought you were there to get to know him better and to analyze him. But then you're going to pretty much lead his entire interview. Hey, Chris, remember us? And then Tammy goes, "Oh, you had to take a test? And what was your IQ?" "Oh, I had to take 11 tests. I was like 135, 140. "Oh, is that good?" Tammy Lee says. Is that good? Even if she is playing dumb, like, what's all with all the small talk? It's not even good small talk. It's freaking crap. Irrelevant. Get to the good stuff. 5 hours later, it's woof. 5 hours later, it's way longer than my streams. At least I have some sort of relevant information in my rambles. Not anything in this case. They didn't give us anything of significance. But if you go and you listen to that part of the interview where they go, oh, talking about how his time was served at Will County, because like they give a shit. And again, even if they're just using a tactic, no psychopathic murderer, I'm sorry, is just going to be like, "Hey, everybody, sure, I'll talk to you, and, I'm just going to tell you everything that I didn't tell you before, sure." And what, only a few months later? It's not like the guy was in prison for like years and was so lonely that then yeah, that might be a possibility. But remember, they're trying to make us believe that this guy, Chris Watts, is literally a cold-blooded killer. I just don't see it. I'm not seeing it. So, again, if you go I'm getting to my point. If you listen to that part when she says, oh, what kind of, did they give you books? What kind of books did they give you? And then he says, oh, they gave me 2 murder books or something about murder, which is just ridiculous. And then a book that he read by Margaret Truman, Murder at the Capitol or Murder at Capitol Hill. Something like that. These events are planned years in advance, you guys. So what are the odds, combined with all the other connections, all the other bug virus stuff that's been happening? There's a bunch of other of those that they left. So I'm not going to go over right now because then I'm just going to get really off track. But several clues and breadcrumbs that they left us, letting us know and telling us that was going to happen. Because that's one of the biggest ones of them all. I mean, it's huge. But what are the odds that Chris just happened to read a book called Murder at the Capitol, and a couple of years later, there's someone murdered at Capitol Hill? Hey, Mary Rose. And that's just one. That's just one example. Oh, real quick, there's the other one that I put in another video called the Great Reset, or Time for a Reset, where I point out Shanann holding the Thrive magazine, where she was featured in that article. And the title of the article is Time for a Reset. What have we been hearing over and over again from all the mainstream media? Time for a reset. Time for a reset. The Great Reset. It's the time for the Great Reset. Reset. And Shanann just so happens to be holding a magazine that says Time for a Reset. That's two. That's 3 things that have come true since this case. The 4th one are the blackouts that happened. And I called that with all of the electricity and power and energy references in this case. So many of them. I actually was just talking to someone, and I mentioned this in the video, but I was just talking to someone about how I believe that all these power references that they were making in the Watts case was either going to have something to do with DEW. Even if you're not familiar with that, that's another one of those things that shall not be mentioned on this platform. But just search for DEW, not Mountain Dew. Which is funny because Tammy was drinking a Mountain Dew, and then she said, Chris, do you want a Mountain Dew? And he said, oh, no, I'm okay, thanks. Oh, you sure? You sure you don't want a Mountain Dew? He's like, well, I used to drink Mountain Dew a lot. Baja Blast, wink, wink, specifically. I mean, they have like literally a minute and a half small talk conversation about freaking Mountain Dew. Who gives a shit? Just hook them up to the polygraph and let's go. What the fuck? Excuse my language. But I just happen to be saying to someone that I believe that with all the power and energy references, and also Biden and Trump talking about how it's going to be a dark winter, I said, I think that there's either going to be something, they're either admitting to using dew on us, or there's going to be some major blackouts soon. And the next day, literally, there was that huge blackout in Pakistan, where the entire capital of Pakistan was out of power. Guess what day that was on? 15 minutes before it happened, the blackout, 15 minutes before January 10th, Shanann Watts' birthday. They were still without power on January 10th. So it happened January 9th at 11:45, still without power on January 10th. Now, did I predict that? I just got lucky that it just happened that happened the next day. But I did say that these power outages were going to happen. And then you had another one in Texas. And then you had the more recent one where Texas froze over. So there's been several major power outages since the Watts case. And I know this might sound crazy, especially if you're new and you're just coming in here. And I totally understand if you're like, okay, this chick is crazy. And they leave, but that's fine. Again, I don't expect everybody to just believe what I'm saying, but yeah, right? Taco Bell. Oh, yeah, they talked about Taco Bell because the Baja Blast had it. Oh my gosh, Angela. I didn't even realize that. Sorry, I probably just scared you guys. You're like, what? Oh my gosh, he does talk about Taco Bell, huh? In that Mountain Dew thing? Or conversation? Huh, that's very, very interesting. Thank you. I gotta write that down. I'll forget. I don't know how I didn't notice that. But, so you guys are like, okay, are you just going to leave us hanging here? I've mentioned his channel several times, but there is a creator by the name of RV Truth. R and then V as in Victor Truth. He talks about and points out a lot of the same things that I do with the Watts case. So the symbolism, the numerology, and how they put it in all of these Easter eggs in plain sight. Interesting enough, he talks about how they've been using the white horse. And you'll find it a lot in the ones responsible for these events. So it's interesting that this Watts case just so happened to be in a state where the football team, the NFL team, is the Broncos, whose mascot is a white horse. Huge white horse, right? I didn't know that about that until I watched this video, but then it made sense. There's also another big channel creator that I will not mention who likes to display that horse on their live streams. Just throwing it out there. Doesn't mean anything, but it's interesting to say the least. But RV Truth, and I'll see if I can find before I end this, because I'm going to end it soon, because we didn't even get through the 15 minutes of this video. I did call that, or at least I didn't. I said it would be at least an hour, but I thought we would get all the way through it. Anyways, but the most important part was the Nate's camera I wanted to talk about, and then of course this teaser that came on. So that's all that matters. We don't have to watch the whole thing. We've seen it a million times. But I'll see if I can put his link to that video in the description, or in the chat at least. But he talks about the symbolism, of course, that they use. And you can't find his channel. Okay, yeah, I'll put the link, Doing Life My Way. I just want to write this down before I will forget. But he talks about in the video how they like to use bell symbolism, so Bell, for whatever in occult symbolism, the bell represents something. I can't remember specifically what it represents, but so you'll find a lot of that bell reference in these cases. Okay, so the most obvious one you have is Bella. Okay, Bella. On the headstone at their grave, or graves, on the side of it, it says bells. I haven't seen all of Shanann's videos, and maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody reference Bella as Bells. And correct me if I'm wrong. But either way, it does say it on the side of the headstone. And it says Bells in quotations. So you have Bells, or Bella, Bells. And another one of those moments where I told you that it happened a lot to me in this case, where I would hear something or see something and go, huh, that's really weird. Why am I getting that feeling? So when Officer Kate Lyons and Jane are up in the bathroom talking about the sediment in the toilet or whatever, Officer Kate Lyons gets a phone call and her ringtone, get this, is Carol of the Bells. Oh, thank you, Purple. You rock. Thank you so much. But her ringtone was Carol of the Bells. Why would Kate Lyons have Carol of the Bells, a Christmas song, in August? Now, I get it, right? Because I'm going to have probably some comments that say, oh my God, just because she has a Christmas Carol ringtone, and I don't know if that's how these people sound, but I just have to change it so it doesn't sound like my voice. Oh my God, like, just because she has Carol of the Bells in August, even though it's a Christmas song, it doesn't mean it's like some big conspiracy, Megan. You're right, it doesn't. But when you add in all of the other bell connections and all the other freaking plethora of crazy, odd connections in this case, again, that's when it stops becoming conspiratorial and less coincidental. And makes more sense why this officer would have a Carol of the Bells ringtone in August and not in December. Metallica also has a song called Hell's Bells. I think. I always get it confused. Hell's Bells, and then there's... I think it's Hell's Bells. There's another one that I'm missing, I think. There's another bell one. But now we have the Taco Bell connection. Taco Bell. And if you watch that whole thing with the Mountain Dew, and the Taco Bell, it's so, like, they drag it out so much. I think it actually goes like 3 minutes long. That conversation about Taco Bell and Mountain Dew before Chris does his polygraph test. It's like, come on. Like, how many times are you going to say, Chris, that you like Baja Blast? We freaking get it, dude. Hell's Bells is AC/DC, Suki? Okay, thank you. What's the Metallica song with the bells? Something that... Oh, thank you, Aussie. Yeah. See, I told you I'd get it mixed up. But yeah. But Metallica does have something bells. I don't know. Anyways. And I'm sure the rest of them are in my notes. I think there's a couple more. But yeah, so there's another... Thank you. Michelle. It was you, right, Michelle? That... I don't have to scroll up now. Probably gonna thank the wrong person. But no, you guys are all great. And you guys... Even you guys have helped me out in the comments, you know, over time. And notice stuff that I haven't even noticed. So that's great. That you guys are starting to notice inconsistencies and as far as that goes. And certain things that keep popping up. For whom the bell tolls. Thank you, monsters. I don't know Metallica songs. Noise. Laugh out loud. Purple, was that the link to... Oh, that was just to his channel? Okay. That's fine. I think the one where he mentions the bells, there's like, you can't miss it. It's only, you know, probably 4 or 5 videos ago. But there's a huge, like, you know, Taco Bell logo and a bell on it, so you really can't miss it. But all his videos, the white Bronco symbolism that I was talking about, that's one of his more recent videos. And I encourage you guys to go watch those, because it will show you that I'm not the only one that's talking about these patterns and these Easter eggs in these cases. Yeah, and then of course, Nate's wearing a Broncos hat. Oh, he also talks about the orange color. That's a big Masonic occult color that they like to use. Purple is another one. You have Shanann and her Lupus Foundation. That's purple. He talks about black and white, or black and yellow, and the Steelers colors, that jerseys that Chris and Shanann and the girls are wearing. You have black and yellow. And then you also have several, which I have not made a video on this yet, and I don't know if I will, just because to me it's shocking, but the time that it would take to make it, and based off of all my other videos that don't seem to have enough shock factor, or they're just not getting enough views, I don't honestly know if I want to take the time to do it, because it takes so much time. But there's several references to black and yellow, and to bees. You have the wasp on the bed that Kate Lines, another one of those scenes on the body cam, where she's making it so obvious. She's like, oh, there's a wasp on the bed, you guys. Hey, Jane. Hey, look. It's a wasp on the bed. Because that wasp probably had something to do with the murders, right? Like, what the wasp do, right? He's dead anyways. Like, if anything, he's the victim, right? But she makes it, if you watch that footage again, she makes it so obvious. Hey, there's a dead wasp on the bed. Okay, is that going to help you guys find Shanann and the girls? I'm not understanding, Kate Lines. And then you have the neighbor, where it states in the discovery, they went around to get the footage, and conveniently nobody has any footage, right? Nobody has cameras, or this one neighbor who did have footage, just so happens that there was a bunch of wasps covering the camera lens, so you couldn't see anything. How convenient. So many convenient things in this case. And then you have American Horror Story and the season of Cults. If you look up that season and you go to images, you'll see several of the posters for that season, where this one woman has a honeycomb face and like a bee coming out of her mouth or something. Another one with another honeycomb something. Several bee references in Cult. Why is there so many bee references in the season of Cult of American Horror Story? Because bees and cults are often compared to one another. Because bees, they follow the orders of the queen bee, right? And they're all the worker bees, and they do whatever they're told, and ultimately, die for her in the end. And what do they get out of it? A whole lot of nothing, right? Work their butts off. Same thing with cults in real life, or cult leaders. Not only that, but you have MLMs or pyramid schemes that can also be compared as cult-like, or considered cult-like. The way the pyramid schemes are set up. You got the one running the pyramid scheme, and then you got the worker bees, and then they all recruit other worker bees, and all drink the Kool-Aid, essentially, right? Then you have, I believe it's Nicole Kessinger used to work for Beeline Acoustics, or Beeline, not Acoustics, that's Beeline something. Beeline something. Anyways, B. And then you have Jeremy Lindstrom and his wife in that interview that they did for that, I don't know who the hell they are, Truth Talks radio show, and I don't even know where they're based out of because their website doesn't say where in the hell, what state they're in, so I have no idea, which is odd to me. But they come out and do this interview on close to the 2-year anniversary. Go figure. Like, out of all the days you can do it, you do it on the anniversary. But Jeremy Lindstrom in that video talks about, he mentions that how he started to come to the realization that Chris was guilty, and that when he was driving, the song Black and Yellow, Black and Yellow, Black and Yellow came on. Another one of those things where it's like, that was completely odd and just doesn't make sense. And why would Black and Yellow remind you of Chris? But Black and Yellow reminds me of bees. If you look at the dirt at Survey 319, you know, the road leading up to where the batteries are, and then you look up a honeybee stinger, you know how, you know, when it's after he stings and it's pulled out, it's shaped, the dirt and the road leading up to it is shaped like a honeybee stinger. I can't make this stuff up if I tried. Bees symbolize an organization, a group, umbrella. Yep. And again, Hard Eyes, you said, you know, organization, orchestrated, organized. That's what this is. That's what this whole case is. And probably, if you want to get really conspiratorial, that's what they're probably trying to turn us into, our worker bees. That we don't think for ourselves, we comply to the government, the mainstream media, because again, we don't think for ourselves, and we're either they're using fear against us, or they're taking away rights in order to control us. Just like Nicholas, the name Nicholas means conqueror of the people. Conquer over the people. That's what they're trying to do. Yeah, Michelle, that the whole lollipops thing and the I don't know, that just gave me a whole like pedophile vibe. I don't know why. But that's the kind of, you know, the food talk and stuff they use a lot. But and the whole pizza thing, that's very strange too. But pizza is also shaped like triangles, and the occults love their triangle shape. So I don't know, but and if you notice in Steelers, you also have the name Lee backwards. Oh, Alexis Lee. Her middle name is Lee. I bet you she's a part of it. I knew it. I don't know why, but I just knew it. I'm just kidding. I feel bad for, you know, any of you who do have the middle name Lee, or because it doesn't mean that, you know, just because, you know, one of you has the name Lee, it doesn't mean that you're an occultist or that you're a part of it. But again, they do pick really, really common names so that to people who are not in the know or don't know how these people operate, that it does just seem like it's a common name, and that there's nothing conspiratorial about it. But if you do know how they operate, or you are the ones in the know who are orchestrating it, then you'll know what it means, right? Did you know that Trent Bolt's ex's name was Damien? Damien. Isn't Damien the devil? Wait, who breaks down music videos? Is this a channel creator? Hey, Google. Hopefully I didn't just turn anyone's phone on. Hey, GTP. Son of Lucifer, Suki. And oh yeah, from that movie The Omen, isn't the kid's name Damien? Oh, I thought you said at first, GTP, I thought your comment said my kid's name is Damien. I was like, oh no. But I was like, wait, no, that can't be right anyways. Mary Rose, Damien might be is probably, with all the horror movies, it's probably the title of a horror movie, but The Omen, the boy's name in that movie was Damien. So before I end this, is there any questions? I know that I saw a couple questions as far as, which I can't repeat. But hopefully, Ara, if you are still here, that you did see my response to your question. I can't, that's one of those questions where I literally, I don't have a way of working around it or rewording it in order to answer it on YouTube, but I can answer it on DLive. I don't have to use Michelle, that Santa video was one of the most awkward videos to watch. It was just, it makes you feel so uncomfortable. Just the whole thing, anyways, for me, gave me this just uncomfortable feeling. Like it was just not right. Can anyone blow up that photo behind Nate? Seen it before somewhere, but I can't remember. Which photo? I'll have to scroll up. Your husband and son's middle name is Lee? Suki? Yeah. And again, it's probably, it's very common, if not the most common. I don't know. I'm not a name expert as far as that goes, but very, very common name. But again, if you yes, the name is common. But if you look up the meaning behind the name and know that there's several different variations for that name, and 3 of them being from Chinese variations, and I mentioned earlier, the L-E-E-L-I and L-I-E, and that Li in China, the meaning of Li in Chinese meaning of the name Li means organic pattern. And the powers that be, the ones that are responsible for controlling these narratives, love their patterns. No, I know, GTP. I know that you don't have any boys, but I didn't want to, I don't know. I just didn't know if you wanted me to repeat that or not. So that's why I stopped myself. A former matriarchal ruler of Israel, Deborah, whose name means queen bee. Huh. Isn't that allegedly Kessinger's mother's name? Deborah? Is it Deborah? Deborah something. Cavett? Oh wow, so you know a lot about that stuff. The goddess Demeter was also addressed as the pure mothery. Huh. That's really interesting. I'm going backwards in the chat, so if that's why it seems like I'm really behind. And I saw your question earlier, Jenny, but I don't remember exactly what it was. Something about how did I come to this conclusion about the case? Was it something close to that? I'm sorry. Well, if you want to repeat it, if you don't mind. What brought me to the American Horror Story connections? Oh, because of the teaser that came on the body cam footage. It was so identical to the Watts narrative. I mean, it pretty much mirrored it with the oil and the skull and the shallow grave and the woman in there. It was too spot on that it reminded me of predictive programming and how they incorporate their little clues, because they think they're so clever, into these events in plain sight. And knowing that the majority of people will take it as some sort of spiritual sign or coincidence, when really it's actually not, and it's put there on purpose. But so I saw that, and I was curious because of knowing about predictive programming. I went and watched the show to see if there would be any more, and come to find out, there was a whole bunch of predictive programming in that show, every single season. So I'd be very curious to see what happens in this next season, in season 10. But that's not even predictive programming anymore. I'm gonna have to find a term for it, because it's after the fact. But they were still putting these Easter eggs into the Watts narrative even after he had pled guilty, which is crazy. I've never seen it happen after the fact, only before. But with, how Cadel, with her book, how she came out and said, "Oh, Chris, when I was interviewing Chris, his eyes turned black, all black, and he looked like somebody, like some sort of demon took over him." And then Chris, in another one of his many confessions, said that he felt like he was being controlled, and that's why he couldn't take his hands off of Shanann, pretty much implying that he was possessed by some sort of demonic entity. Well, what are the odds that in Murder House, all of the residents that lived there would end up getting possessed by the house because the house was demonic, and ended up murdering everybody in the house. And they couldn't control themselves because the house was making them do it. And what are the odds that Ashley Banfield on HLN is covering a story where there's a moving truck outside and the title says, "Moving truck seen outside of Murder House." Murder House. Not out of Chris Watts' murderer's house. Moving truck seen outside of Murder House. Literally the title of the very first episode of American Horror Story. Oh, and there's a question I saw earlier, but I didn't have a chance to answer. I have considered the possibility of it being, an actual sacrifice, but I do have a couple of reasons as to why I don't believe that's the case, but I can't go over them on here, unfortunately, because that would go into the whole against the guidelines. Rules is rules, says YouTube. Oh, I forgot about those things, oddities too. Mary Rose just mentioned the Google Earth images of the Watts home. If you go and look now, Betty's house is blurred out. There still has not been it still has not been updated since freaking 2012. You guys, Google Images. Granted, they're not Google Street View, not Google Earth, but Google Street View. Google Maps has not updated Saratoga Trail 2825 Saratoga Trail since 2012. Now, granted, they don't update as often as some people might think, but the longest it usually takes is about 5 years. Why? And especially with all that new development, and none of the other neighbors have an issue with the fact that they can't, that their house and their neighborhood's has not been updated since 2012. Guess whose house also has not been updated or the other house that hasn't been updated since 2012 on Google Street Maps? Shanann's house in North Carolina has not been updated since 2012. Not since 2015, not since 2000, whatever. Both 2012. Why would they not update though? Why has that not been updated on Google Maps? Doing Life My Way says, so the worker bees, us, beg for control again to feel safe. Totally. Because worker bees don't think for themselves, right? Worker bees do what they're told. They conform. They comply. For their one ruler, their one queen bee, who they ended up probably not getting freaking anything from. Freaking little hussy. I don't know. . 'Cause worker bees don't think for themselves, right? Worker bees do what they're told. They conform. They comply. For their one ruler, their one queen bee, who they end up probably not getting freaking anything from. Freaking little hussy. I don't know. . 'Cause worker bees don't think for themselves, right? Worker bees do what they're told. They conform. They comply. For their one ruler, their one queen bee, who they end up probably not getting freaking anything from. Freaking little but yeah, exactly. Doing life my way. It can be compared to exactly the same thing. What is everybody doing right now or has been doing with this whole virus thing? People are so scared that they're going to get sick or that they're going to die. And instead of doing research, just a little bit, before, jumping to conclusions. And if they did, if people did just a little bit of research, they would know. And I have to watch what I say about this because I'll get a strike for medical misinformation because I'm not a doctor. Or even if I was a doctor, I'm not allowed to give medical misinformation, says Google, YouTube. But Jenny. But if they did it, just a little bit of research, they would know that it's not as scary as they might think. But majority of people, again, they're so scared that they're going to get sick or die. What do? They do what they're told. Because why? Because the government said so? Because the government says that they have to do this to stay alive? Or because the mainstream media is pushing out that narrative? The mainstream media works for the powers that be. Speaking of worker bees, that's your mainstream media for you. They don't think for themselves. They don't come up with this information that they're putting out for us or these news stories. They're told what they can and cannot talk about. Their main purpose is to spread propaganda and push a narrative onto the public. So, again, they use fear as a way to control us. Because and the best way to control people is with fear. And if you listen, if you go back and you, or if you haven't seen it, my 2 lives that I did on all the connections in this case, or not all of them, because there's so many that I still haven't or did not put in there. I play 2 clips from audio clips of one of the characters from a scene from the character Kai Anderson, and which just so happens to be in the season of Cult, so that's interesting. But he, and again, they tell us what they're gonna do, what they're doing, and what they're planning on doing, right to our faces. They admit to it, and even regardless if it's a character in a show, it doesn't matter. That's how they do it. He, in both of those scenes, he pretty much explains how people love to, they love fear. They like to be scared. It's just a way to, you'd have to listen to it because he obviously says it much better than I do. But essentially, they're using fear to control us. And when one person, he explains how if one person has fear, that fear spreads like wildfire. So if one woman has that much fear, then it goes to the next and the next and the next and the next till eventually everybody's living in fear. Okay, Monica, thank you. I know, I'm sorry, my lives are so long. But yeah, okay, I'm going to end this now. But again, and I don't mean for them to be long, but there's just so much with this case, and so much that I've uncovered, and that other people, not other people, but you guys specifically have uncovered and helped me with. So, and I still continue to find things or note. I'm not even looking. They just pop up at random and I go, oh, like the Taco Bell thing. I didn't even notice that. And I was aware of all the other bell connections, but for whatever reason, Taco Bell didn't hit it. So, that's good. Alright, guys. Well, I know that you're getting tired of me saying this, but if you are interested in hearing me speak more about my theory, where I don't have to worry about walking on eggshells, worried about every little event that I compare this one to, having to reword everything, and pretty much speak in freaking code, I definitely encourage you to go over to DLive. I will put my DLive link in the chat. It should be in the description as well. But follow me on DLive, and if there's enough people there, I mean, the majority of people on DLive that are mostly on DLive, they're already aware of everything or know about the kind of things that I'm talking about. So I usually try not to do any Watts live streams unless I get enough of you guys from YouTube over there. So I mean, and I mean, I still don't mind doing it for the DLive crew, but again, they're not the ones that necessarily need I guess convincing. I don't know what word to use for it, because I'm not trying to convince anybody. But anyways, I'm rambling. Please consider following me on DLive. It only takes a couple minutes, and that way, again, I don't have to worry about everything I'm saying, and I can speak freely. So, and if you do, if you can, leave a comment in my chat, and let me know if you have a different name, that it's you, because I would have no way of knowing. So, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Purple. You're awesome. Love you. Thank you for putting my link in the chat, my DLive link. Thank you so much, Purple. Yeah, so thank you guys. Appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time.